Fueled by C4, Cellucor, and Extend. Use the code Clydesdale to get 20% off the checkout at c4energy.com. On Clydesdale Media, where we bring you the widest array of content here on our YouTube channel. Make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. Hit that notifier so you're the first to know when new episodes are available. What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Bro Show.
We are here.
We're here. You know what today is, don't you, Charlie?
No.
It's Prime Day.
It is Prime Day, right?
It is. It's Prime Day. And we have a landing page on our Instagram bio. Go check it out. They've got 20, 30, 40% off different items from the C4, Cellucor, and Extend lines. And they got everything up there, man. Everything. They got the black containers. You know, like
cans.
They've got the black cans. They've got the black pre-workout. They got like when you want to go like lights out.
That's the good stuff.
You'll be itchy for like 3 days.
30, 40% off. I have to look at that when we're done here.
Yeah. I saw my Midnight Cherry. And it's cool. Like, what's weird is depending on the flavor of the C4 or not.
Yeah.
Crazy. But man, I saw my Midnight Cherry on there. I got a little drool. Wow.
The Midnight Cherry is special. We got to get something in your hands.
I know. Well, for those of you who are joining us for the first time, which is all of you, because this is the first time we're doing this show. This is the Two Dude Movie Review Show. Till we come up with a better title.
I was going to say, name is in the works.
Yeah, that's a working title. And so what we're going to do today is we're going to review a little bit of the American Gladiator documentary called Muscles and Mayhem, I believe.
That is correct. Unauthorized.
Unauthorized, yes. And then we are going to rank the Rockies. So I actually forgot to do something real quick. So which one do you want to do first?
Let's do the Rockies.
All right, Rockies first. What I'm doing now is I'm just going to pull up something, chatting with the audience. I think that's it. And then I'll just close it. Come on. Okay. Don't want to give too much away. Go. Bye. There we go. All right, cool. Just had to get that up. So, Rockies. We talked a little bit last week during our roundtable. Amy got annoyed because we were told too much guy talk during her show. So we decided to create our own. And I have started the list knowing what your number 9 movie is because it's the same as mine. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to type in as we go along and fill out the list. So I am pretty sure that I know that both of us have Rocky 5 as number 9.
That is 100% correct. And I don't even know if we can even list it because I don't know that it should exist.
It should not exist. I remember probably been 10 years ago now, when Bill Simmons was still a part of ESPN. He did like a cartoon about a dude going to buy the Rocky box set at Best Buy, and he ripped Rocky 5 out of the set and threw it in the trash and said he refused to buy it with that in it. So he pulled it out in the store. And that was my feelings exactly. That should not exist.
It's bad. It just doesn't relate to anything else.
And when they made Rocky Balboa, it kind of like it didn't exist. Thank God.
Yeah.
So
even they disavowed it. They just.
So we both agree that's a And Kenneth is in the comments agreeing as well. Rocky 5 should not exist. Easy pick for number 9. So my number 8 is Creed 2. And the reason it's Creed 2 is that I think it went into the nostalgia bag a little too much. Like, you brought Rocky back in the first one. You brought Apollo's son back. Now you're going to go dig up Dolph Lundgren and a son he has, and you're going to add more nostalgia to it. I just think it was a little over the top. Didn't really rivet me like I think they were hoping for, and I wanted a little more out of that one.
I'm going to 1 second.
Oh no. He's going to go break some kids. So yes, we're including the Creeds in our Rocky countdown. And we are adding those. So that's all 9 of those.
So I'm going to go with Creed 3, actually, simply because Major's performance was just, it's just, the ending was weird. The whole thing just isn't, it was a good movie. I will give it was a good movie.
Yeah, for me, once you get above 8, for me, it's yes, all nickel and diming at that point.
Correct.
At that point, I love every single one of the movies above 8, and I'm nitpicking to figure out an order.
Absolutely.
So,
well, although there's no question what 1 is, but we'll get to that when we get there. But
we don't agree. So I'll go ahead and go with 7, and I can't believe this is where this landed. But when you're nitpicking, you got to put it somewhere, right?
Whoa.
7 for me is Rocky 2.
Whoa.
And I think what it is it like took a step back for me to be Rocky 1 had all this heart and all this, like, I just want to go the distance. It's not about winning. I want to be a better person. In Rocky 2, it's like they had to reset him as a dumb Italian from the streets. He couldn't do a commercial. He stuttered through stuff. Like, they just, and again, we're nitpicking now because, like, I love all these movies going forward. But, and then there's a lot of not action. There's a lot of sitting by Adrian's bed, reading a book. And so that's kind of why I had to move it down to number 7.
I'm with you there. I think I'm going to have to go with the Rocky Balboa as my 7th.
Okay, there it is.
It's, it tried to bring back, I might have had a stink of 5 going into it. So that may have been just sitting on it. Because after that, I was like, they should never do any of these again. And then it came back, and I'm like, oh, here we go. And I can't remember the fighter who he fights in that. Not a great actor either.
No.
He really fell off right after that. So, and then it's kind of like, is this what Creed is? Is this what happened here?
Okay. Well, I'll give my points on that when I add it to the list.
Okay.
So then at number 6 is where I put in Creed 3. I actually just watched it for the first time days ago. I wasn't, I'd heard all this Stallone drama around it, that he didn't want to be a part of it, didn't like the writing of it, X, Y, and Z. So, like, I went into it with bad thoughts, and I was pleasantly surprised. So I think like my expectations were set appropriately for it, meaning it was easier for it to meet it.
And it's funny because he changed his kind of tone about it. Because at first that was what he said. Then he said, well, it wasn't really about me. It was about family stuff. So I wouldn't be in it anyway.
Yeah.
So who knows what the real truth is. But they both said if there was another one, he'd come back. So there's some director stuff.
I do think they forgot about some of the story that was created in one in the writing of this one.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of confused me a bit. But I did like it. Essentially was Rocky 3 with a little bit of the warrior.
Yes.
Yeah. So it was kind of a storyline that's already been done, but it turned out okay.
Yes. Yes.
That's where I'm at. Where are you at with number 6?
Number 6, I'm going to go with Rocky 2 as well. A lot of the same points that you already made. It was very slow. You kind of knew what was going to happen anyway. He was just kind of like, there was with 1, you know, he became the guy you're pulling for, and 2, you're just like, what's going on here? Does he brain damage? Does he?
Warrior is top 5 movie of all time. Warrior is one of my favorite movies ever. I watch it probably once a year.
Interesting.
Gotta love an old haggard Nick Nolte, man.
Yeah.
So then we move to 5. And for me, 5 is Balboa.
Okay.
So what I'll say to it is, for me, Rocky Balboa was a palate cleanser. It was good enough for me to like get over 5. Like, thank you for putting this out. So the last taste in my mouth is not that garbage that you did and tried to pass off as a Rocky movie with the fake Don King and all that crap.
Yeah.
And kudos for bringing back Spider Rico.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
You know, like a nice deep track in there for us diehard Rocky fans. Getting Spider Rico back in the game as a dishwasher at the restaurant was pretty awesome. I will say, and I loved the scene in the shed with Duke. Like, we're gonna throw some power bombs, you know, like that.
Oh yeah.
That whole scene is probably my favorite from that movie. So,
I'm gonna hit you with a curveball here, and I'm gonna say Rocky 1 is 5.
oh my gosh, I don't know if we can be friends anymore.
It's a nitpick.
Okay.
It's I don't know if it was just the if there was
get Rocky 7 in the Odie household.
Right. I know we're doing business here. So it's just Adrian was a weird character at the time. Like, there was weird things happening. Like, I don't know. It's a nitpick.
I know, like, this is hard for you, but it was a love story.
But was it though?
It was.
I mean, you got Paulie in there talking crazy, and it's like, what's happening here? Is it a love story? It seemed kind of She didn't want to do any of it, but he's kind of making her do stuff. It's weird.
She didn't seem to be upset with in the mansion in Rocky 4. Or
well, then at that point, she pulls it together. One, she's like, "Why am I here?"
Well, I got a lot to say about this, but we're going to wait till I put it on my list.
Okay.
At number 4, I have the original Creed. Bringing Rocky back, Apollo's son, illegitimate son. I think the math doesn't work out real well when you try to figure it out, like when Apollo died and how old Adonis was. But you got to let go of some things.
Yeah, some things.
It elevated Balboa a little bit further in getting rid of like the trash of 5.
Yes.
Yeah. And so that's why I went like Balboa, Creed back to back. I think they build on each other really nicely and really kind of pulled the franchise up out of the gutter. So that's why I go Creed at 4. And Kenneth responds to you with it's okay not to have one or the original at 1, but not even top 3.
That is correct.
All right.
But that's like saying you don't have Creed 1 in top 3.
Man. All right, what do you got for 4?
4 is also Creed for me.
There we go, Creed. So something we agree on 2. We agree that Rocky 5 is trash and doesn't exist. We agree on Creed at number 4.
Yes.
Okay. Similar reasons, or you got your own reasons in there?
Similar reasons.
Creed 2 above this, though. What garbage. Oh, my God.
Because, listen, if you like Top Gun Maverick, it's the same concept. It's got all the nostalgia that brought back from 4. You've got Dolph in it. You've got an old Bridget Nielsen in it.
We're going to talk about like old hot women here in a little bit when we get to the Gladiators. All right. So my number 3, I know I'm going to take it on the chin for this one. I don't know what just happened there. Whoa. Is Rocky 4. Rocky 4 is my number 3. Now when we're in this realm, like 3 through 1, all of these are probably in my top 10 movies of all time.
Okay.
So like we're really nitpicking at this point. And I will give Rocky 4 this. Greatest training scene of all time.
Several of them.
Without a doubt. Both
high quality montages.
Yeah. Both Ivan Drago and Rocky Balboa. It was just freaking awesome. Kenneth says the way they make their Philly cheesesteaks in Creed is an abomination. On a cheesesteak. All right.
Some of these details you just can't. You just have to look past.
So Rocky 4, one of the greatest movies of all time, in my opinion. Just number 3 in the Rocky canon.
Well, Creed 2 will be my 3rd.
I don't even know what the hell is going on now.
You got it way too low. It's got
trash.
It's got the nostalgia of it.
Lazy storyline.
Nielsen's in it.
Okay.
She was with Flavor Flav. Now that gives her 15 points right there.
Okay. Is she still with Flavor Flav?
No.
Oh my gosh, that was what, 20 years ago?
Yeah. Hey, it counts.
Show.
It's on a resume.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Sorry. So, okay, you love the nostalgia. You want it all brought. You thought it was as good as Top Gun Maverick.
I mean, in terms of bringing back the things that you missed from years ago, the old little subtle things, you're like, oh yeah, that's right. This, and this.
See, I got that
This
in
is
Creed.
why.
I got that in Creed 1. I didn't need the extra in Creed 2. All right, my number 2 is Rocky 3.
This is just a terrible. That's just
Rocky 3. Again, I'm telling you, my top 3 Rocky movies are in my top 10 movies of all time. So this is in my top 10 movies of all time. I will say, I'm going to share my screen a little bit differently for a second, because we can't go the show without hearing from Mr. T himself, right?
What's your prediction for the fight? Dixon is pain.
One of the greatest lines delivered in movie history.
This is why it's number 1. Like, spoiler alert.
Yeah. I don't think too many people were spoiled. But yeah, Mr. T, I actually watched this thing today as I was prepping for this. It was the Clubber Cuts, the top 10 or whatever it's phrases by Clubber Lang.
Yeah.
That put it number 9.
Put it number 9.
Number 9. Are you kidding me?
That thing was number 9?
Yeah.
Was number 1, hey, woman, come up from my apartment.
No, it was more like his trash talking from the ring.
Oh,
Like, it just was lame. Like
Scruntity.
nothing made it from the statue heckle speech.
which is literally the best.
It is. I'll take you home and show you what a real man is.
Leave that mansion that you're in and come over to my apartment.
Yeah. Clubber Lang is the best. But again, number 2 in my book. What do you got at number 2?
4.
And we
Because
really
the
are
reason-
like nitpicking at this point.
Yeah.
These are the best ever.
And look, 3 has Hulk Hogan in it.
All right, let's finish it off because the chat's already going to Thunderlips. So my number 1 is the original Rocky, which is my greatest movie of all time. Not just Rocky, like the greatest movie of all time. Rocky 3. All right, so you go Rocky 3, I go original Rocky.
Yep.
Uh,
This speaks a lot to your love that we'll probably get into at some point for romantic comedies.
probably, yeah.
You like a love story.
And you like Thunderlips.
I like Thunderlips. I like people telling people's wives they're going to take them to their apartment. People die in it. There's all kinds of stuff happening.
So, did you see it in the theater for the first time, or did you have to wait?
Honestly, I don't remember. I think I waited. I think it was home.
So I saw it at the theater, and my mom got mad at me because I was punching the seat in front of me. In Rocky 3, like that was the first Rocky I saw in the theater, and I went with my mom. I can't even, like, the way Mr. T talked to like the women, and my mom is the biggest Stallone fan in the world. She loves action movies, and she's all for it. Clubber going nuts, and it just made him the best villain for zero acting experience. He was just a high security guard.
Yeah. Listen, Hogan was not who Hogan is now then. He was not even to the Hulkster status yet. This blew him up. Somehow they put Stallone on a chair to make it look like he was even kind of close to as tall as him.
Yeah. So there's my mom in the chat. You and my friend Barb. Yeah, we were both punching the chair in front of us during. But it was Rocky 3 was awesome. Now let's get
each scene.
I think that's probably the only part it like lays off for me is like when Rocky gets a little wimpy. Like, and he has to be told by Adrian it's okay.
That's right. This is her shining moment.
You said there's no love story, so it shouldn't matter.
I mean, it's a love story with Paulie and that robot in 4. That's a whole weird thing.
One of the best, and I saw this in some of the clips today, and Paulie was such a racist.
So racist.
And where they put him in South Central LA to train, and what they put him through was awesome.
This is fantastic.
And Apollo kisses him on the cheek. Like, it just, like those little subtleties are great. Here I am talking irreverently about 3, and that's not even what you want.
I like when he's like, Rocky's like, you shouldn't. Maybe they feel the same way about you. And he's like, what did I do?
Yeah. What a great, like, just subtle element in that movie. It just was, you didn't have to be pounded over the head. You saw it right then and there with one from Rocky. It was great. And an Apollo, like Carl Weathers was a hero of mine growing up. Like that dude was chiseled out of granite.
Action Jackson. Predator might have to be. You might have to go some Schwarzenegger movies on this thing.
Sure. But we also have to talk the difference in Rocky's body from 1 to 3. Natty or not?
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not. As you can see in the graphic in the upper right-hand corner, that does not happen naturally.
Didn't he get caught with some stuff at an airport?
Yeah, New Zealand, filming one of the Rambos.
Yeah.
Yeah. Little human growth hormone, which we'll talk about Gladiators here very soon. So the reason Rocky 1 is my number 1 is it is as raw as can be. It was given no budget. It was given no chance. And it turned out to be the greatest movie ever laid down on film. The monologues that the night before the fight that Rocky gives, that all he wants to do is go the distance. Nobody's gone the distance with Creed. I've always been a nobody. I just want to be a somebody. Like that monologue alone makes it the greatest movie of all time. And so there you go. And I was only 6 or 7 when that movie came out. So I had to catch it later in my life. I did not see that one in the theater. And Kenneth says, it's not a paid competition. Why not juice up? Hey, if it was under doctor's supervision, sure. That's why you carry a duffel bag full of it coming out of New Zealand.
Right.
So anyway, there we go. That is, and again, I told you my mom is the biggest Stallone fan. Don't talk smack about my guy.
But I'll tell you, juiced or not, the workout in Russia with the rocks and the shoulder to overhead with the wagon. It's impressive. With five bodies in it.
It's on a fulcrum if we're talking physics. Just saying.
But however, aren't they all though?
Okay. Yeah, like if I'm going like training scenes, 4 would be number 1. And then I go back, you got to go back to the hammering of the meat.
Mm-hmm.
In Rocky 1 with the run up the steps and all of that stuff. And then I would go 3 in LA on the beach, the jumping rope, the trying to swim, all that kind of stuff. I think that was good too.
Yeah.
2 went a little over the top for me with all the kids running, which actually happened naturally. If you listen to stories, they were filming it and then just a bunch of kids started running with Rocky. And that scene where he's outruns them at the end actually did happen.
Outruns Creed?
No.
Oh, the kids.
That's the biggest fake news in all.
Yeah.
Is Stallone out racing Carl Weathers on the beach? That would never ever happen.
You're not beating Action Jackson out there. Kenneth,
Creed's training montages are not bad. But they are highly based on the Rocky movies. And the only thing what was that motorcycle thing in the street where they start circling up and
yeah.
Like I don't even understand that.
Those are the kids. That's what they do in the streets there.
Okay.
Motorcycles.
Yeah, but why the circling outside the gym? What did that represent?
The neighborhood was behind him.
Okay. All right.
Cool. I'll give you another one though. It's not training, but the Lamborghini scene or Ferrari, whatever he's driving. But he's doing the flashbacks. The
best Rocky song ever is "No Easy Way Out" by Robert Tepper that played during that scene.
Now, he never looks at the road, so I'm not sure where he's driving.
Right.
He goes mirror, he goes right, left.
That was my pump up song for so many swim meets. So many.
It's a good one.
Yeah. And then one last thing about Rocky before we move on is that there's a podcast out there and it's all a movie music based podcast. And they talk to the guy who wrote the music for the score for Rocky. Mm. And in Rocky 1, all the songs are the same song in that movie, just played at different speeds. Or with like full orchestra or just piano or so like the Gonna Fly Now at the beginning, that's the big pump up. When it's slow and romantic, it's just that song played really slow with one key at a time on the piano. So, all right. Show at 5:00. So we got to fit this gladiator thing in. All right, cool. So let's talk about the American Gladiators. First and foremost, I love the documentary.
It's fantastic.
Because I love the show.
Absolutely.
And I forgot how much I loved that show. But I was even talking to my mom, like, we watched every episode.
Mm-hmm.
Every episode. The one thing that was wild in the documentary is I forgot, like that when they had the twigs to hide behind in the assault.
Yeah.
Like I thought that was there a long time. And it was only there for like the first half season.
Right.
But yeah. So what were your initial impressions?
Well, it took me back because it was fantastic. It made me miss the show. And just the thought of, because I slightly remember, I believe they had a competition to be on the show here, which there's a clip from the show on here that was from Columbus.
Yep.
And just the amount of people that were lined up to just go out there and just basically get killed because you got no medical staff, you got nobody out there. You just I can take on these dudes who are clearly juiced up, no matter what Nitro says.
Yeah, I think one of the funny things for me is the first half season, they found people that equaled them in size and learned that that was not the way to go.
Right.
Right. They needed to find people smaller than them. So you had a true underdog to go against the Gladiators.
Mm-hmm.
And then Kenneth asks, Zach George make the doc, or is he going to be in the next one? This was all about the American Gladiators that aired from 1989 to 1996.
Yeah.
Here in the States. But they do mention that the Gladiators actually got more popular in other countries after it started to decline here in the US.
It also made me think about back then, maybe because I was younger, but I didn't realize how big of stars they were based on the doc where they're like, we couldn't go anywhere. And people would be like, whether it was girls, guys, whatever it was, just mobbing them. And they were getting paid nothing. But
well, yeah, let's talk about that. So in the documentary, you learn that basically they signed a contract in perpetuity.
Yeah.
So they signed a deal to make $500 a show. And what was Goldwyn production company said that they do not renegotiate.
Mm-hmm.
They right before kind of this comes to a head, they do a 120 city tour and basically get the shit kicked out of them. Halfway through the tour, they were running out of gladiators and had to get more people to come in to fill in because they weren't going to last to the end of the tour.
Yep.
Then they have to like recoup and get back for the next season. And Nitro, Gemini, Ice, and Zap try to form a union of sorts to say, listen, we need to get at least some merchandise money. And this is the line that killed me in the documentary is when the executive said the merchandise money was insignificant. Yet there was so much of it out there.
So everything.
And the Gladiators made zero on that. And all they were asking for was a little bit, a point or two on the merchandising with their own name on it. And they basically said no and fired all four of them.
Mm-hmm.
And that pretty much was the end of American Gladiators.
Yeah.
And it goes on for like 3 more seasons, I think, but struggling the entire time. And they end up bringing them all back in some form or fashion.
Mm-hmm.
But it was too little too late.
Yeah.
But I will say some of the fun things for me were the bus tour. Like you could tell those guys had a blast together. Yeah. Like they truly were a family and having a blast. And it made me like jealous to want to be on that tour with them.
Until they started biting each other's faces.
The other thing is I was 19 years old when this show came on. I was the biggest Zap and Ice fan in the world. Like posters on my wall.
Zap's still holding up.
Ice is really holding up, I think.
It was Ice. You're right. It was Ice.
Yeah, Ice is smoking to this day.
Mm-hmm.
Zap looks like she's been through a few hard days.
Yeah, it was Ice.
But Nitro looks good. Laser looks good.
Gemini looks all right.
Yeah. Blaze looks good.
Malibu does not look good.
No. Well, and that's the other. Like I hated Malibu when I watched the show, and I couldn't remember why. And this documentary only reinforced my why I hated Malibu the whole time this was going on. So
what was your favorite game looking back on it?
So at first it was the Assault. But when they added like the eliminator with the conveyor belts and all that stuff, that became my favorite.
Yeah. I did like the assault. Yeah, outside of that, the assault with the tennis balls just firing at people.
Yeah, I wanted to do that in the worst way.
The swinging down and just ramming into people, I don't even like.
Yeah,
that's never going to work for anybody.
He's the only person that broke like 5 bones and got a concussion in one event.
Right. But he's back. Oh, great.
Kenneth says, I remember playing the game on Nintendo with my neighborhood buddy. Yeah, that's what we're talking with merchandising. They had video games. They had pugil sticks. They had Nerf guns. They had doll
figures.
Yeah, they had, but that was insignificant.
Nope.
Yeah, you gladiators don't look over here at this stuff. It's insignificant.
So the company knew who they were talking to. And like these guys are just, they don't know anything about anything.
And it's all about Phoenix from the reboot for me personally.
Now, was that Gina Carrera? Was she Phoenix? Or Carrano?
I don't know. Then there was a girl that was on Biggest Loser as a trainer. Jennifer. She was one of the later gladiators too. They don't even talk about them in the doc. It's pretty much about the original and kind of how it went. But I felt bad for them because, and I think the way it ends with it's showing like all the stuff that's on TV now because of them, and how like the greedy people at Goldwyn just kind of screwed it all up. Jen Winston, Wittersome, whatever it is. She was a gladiator. So with that, I'm going to pull up the rankings, our review of what we thought of the documentary. And so here it is, as Charlie comes back in. Charlie gives Muscles and Mayhem, the unauthorized story of the American Gladiators, 4 nitros. And I give it 4.5 zaps. I really enjoyed it. Really had a good time watching it. Was talking to my wife, my mom, you about all the stuff I was learning in it. Really, Netflix just kills it with documentaries. They are really good at kind of these nostalgic look backs at things from our childhood. So I highly recommend Muscles and Mayhem. What do you guys say, Charlie?
I was saying the Wham's one coming. The Wham one is coming next.
Is that what we're doing next week?
No.
So I have some ideas for next week. We'll talk about it off air. But hey, guys, hope you enjoyed this little fun down memory lane with movies. And we're going to do it again next week. This is going to be we're going to try to do this at 2.
Yep.
2 p.m. every week. If you have anything that you would like us to review or rank, I have some ideas for next week, but we're looking for ideas in the future. We'll watch whatever you guys throw out to us. And next week, we will put up the live call-in number. If you have any comments or suggestions for us, we'll take those all live on the air. With that, I hope you had a good time. And we'll see everybody next week on the Two Dudes movie review until we can find a better title.
Until we can get. Send us some new names as well.
Catch y'all next time. Bye.